Yes, welcome. This is an F for Rap Critic and No Bars Off crossover exclusive. I'm your boy Malik 16. And no, I'm not the new and improved Jay. That's the other Malik. But we're going to get into it. As you can see, my two special guests here. I got the rap pros with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Who y'all be?
Yo, Shy, Stimuli, Brooklyn, New York representative, former MC. Now I'm a podcast host, one half of the No Bars Off Dynamic Godcast, Atlanta resider now with my brother. Introduce yourself, man.
The one, the only, Boardwalk Brown. Also, Brooklyn representative, Coney Island, stand up one time for the town. Yes, the other half of No Bars Off, the Godcast, as my co-host so poetically stated. But we here.
Oh, shout out to Coney Island. I did not know. I used to live in Coney Island too. So
wow, that's funny.
This is a Harlem and Brooklyn mashup, and usually these are boroughs that are at odds with each other. So it's got to be a great.
It's still borough beef, man.
Yeah,
I think it's always just friendly rivalry.
Always.
You know what I mean?
Always.
Like Nets and Knicks. So it had to be a special occasion for us to join forces. Nothing gets more special than talking about today. This album right here, In My Lifetime, Volume 2 by Jay-Z, affectionately known as Hard Knock Life. And this is category 2, where we get into the rap performance on this album. You saw category 1, hopefully by now. If not, take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, you can go visit theraproulette.com where you can cop this I Used to Love Her tee while you're busy leaving your ratings and scores on all the albums that you feel like leaving your ratings and scores on, because that's how we do it. And speaking of t-shirts, I think they can go cop a No Bars Off t-shirt. Am I right?
Yep.
Sure,
Yeah. No Bars Off show. No Bars Off. NoBarsOff.com.
Yeah, this fresh off the press, this new edition right here. This Ronnie, Bobby, Whitney, and Mike right here. New edition, Fresh off. So NoBarsOff.com. Y'all check us out.
Yeah,
Got a couple looks for you.
While you're at it, go like and subscribe to the channel. We're doing this.
Absolutely.
And with no further ado, we're gonna jump into it. Like I said, we consider ourselves somewhat knowledgeable, somewhat experts in the field. So we're gonna guide you through this analysis where you can form your own opinion based on what we point out. And this is how we're gonna do it. With no further ado, we go through the first dimension in category 2, which is gonna be personality and charisma. So the question is, how much personality and charisma did Hov exhibit? I'm sorry, we gotta call him Jigga. He wasn't Hov yet. He wasn't Hov. How much personality and charisma did Jigga exhibit on this album to keep us interested in listening?
I don't even know where you start. I think at that point he was at the peak. At that point he was Thanos. At that point, volume 2, the follow up to volume 1. Volume 1 was a little harshly received. A lot of people felt like he went Hollywood with that album, but volume 2 was like his comeback season. And yeah, you lead off with the Annie sample, but just the aura around the album, on the album cover with the Bentley suit, cleaned up look. Yeah, it was like a relaunch almost. But again, that was 98, 99. He was at the peak of his powers back then. So
yeah, I always think of this dimension as it's that thing that we usually are not able to put our finger on as casual listeners. Why do we care enough to keep going past track 3? Like the casual listener just used to open the CD for the singles that they knew.
right.
Yeah.
A good artist keeps you locked in from beginning to end because how they present themselves on audio. And I always thought, oh yeah, that takes a special skill. I'm tuned into you. I care enough about what you say next to keep listening. So I mean, he's not above using humor, but always in a cool way. And I think that's what Brown was talking about a second ago. The rebranding was the coolness. Like, he's always cool, but it's like, oh, let me remind you how cool I am. And then with the money aspect on it, it's like, I'm cool and rich, and I'm so rich that I'm cool. I'm so cool because I'm rich. Like,
It's Jay, he exhibited success with this album, and it was a different level of success, because it was before it was drug dealer success, right? That's the picture that he painted to people, and that was the picture that we kind of gathered. You know, when you talk about 1,000,001 Questions, when he's like, "Is it true you can match a triple platinum artist buck by buck, but only a single going gold?" So he created the mystique of, "I'm a hustler. I don't need to rap. It's always, this is my last album." Even the beginning of the intro of the album, he's saying he's leaving.
Yeah,
Like, it's almost like, I don't need this. But this was the first time. And another line I'm alluding to is when he talked about on I'm addicted to the game. I think he said every album, it's like, I'm sort of like a Rubik's Cube is. Every album's a color, but I fuck up the other color. So he knows that Volume 1 wasn't well received. So Volume 2, he does something totally different. And Streets is Watching was the bridge. So if you remember, Volume 1 got all the critique. Streets is Watching was after they watched Master P's Bout It movie. Everybody went to the drum board, was like, "Yo, we could do that."
Yep.
So they $15,000-$30,000, they produced Streets is Watching, which gave a visual to all of these friend or foe, imaginary player, you know, and it set the stage for this next bridge of what Puffy was doing in terms of making hit records and blowing up. Jay was on that tour going first, getting, you know, he left the tour because he was mad he had to go first every time. So that speaks to your cool. Like, I'm too cool to be going first. Like, I'm good.
Absolutely.
You know, all of this led up to, you know, stealing Ja's song, getting that Annie sample, and creating a new lane.
In category 1, we talked about the intentional mood and tone of this album. We talked about how this was the beginning. No, this wasn't the beginning. This is the second attempt at Jay-Z trying. I think we decided that the entire In My Lifetime series was Jay-Z trying. Reasonable Doubt, he's like, "Y'all should love what I do because I'm doing it." And then he realized, "Oh, I need to take it up a step further." And like you said, Volume 1 was the fumble in him trying. Like songs like I Know What Girls Like and Sunshine, that was just him trying. This was him studying a little harder and trying. He's like, "Okay, hold on. People like this young Timberland cat. People like this young Swiss Beast cat. He's kind of affordable." You know, I brought up the point how they helped each other's careers at this point, because Swiss wasn't the Swiss that he came to be, and Jay wasn't TRLJ yet. This is the album that made him TRLJ. But when we wrap this up in the coolness, that's the kick right there. It's him trying without looking like he's trying. Like the Undrained Eye. In '98, I didn't think Jay-Z's trying. As a grown man, I'm like, "Oh, I see what he was doing." Because you see him do it. You see him do it until the Blueprint, really. Dynasty album, he's trying to get the West Coast audience. He's like, "Okay, I got the South on the last two joints." Yeah, he was going hard, right? Yeah.
Rick Rock beats.
Rick Rock beats, you know, he's really. He's like, "I got UGK and Juvenile on the last album. I just tapped into the South, so now let me get the West." Blueprint, he's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna start something new, and y'all just gonna like it because I'm me."
Exactly.
Right. So not to talk about too many other albums, but yes, this idea that he's trying, but he's not gonna let you see that he's trying. He's Batman. I'm too cool for you to see me sweat. I just happened upon the Blitz beat. I just happened upon, you know, I'm gonna do this fast rap trend because I see that's catchy. People starting to get twisted on the song, but I'm Jay-Z. I'm not gonna twist. I'm gonna give me and my man who started that shit on the East Coast. So
brilliant.
Smart play.
So I think, you know, inconspicuous coolness, and like you said, success, and I like what you said, Brown, the rebranding. I'd agree with all those points. That's something for y'all to consider on a scale from 1 to 5 heartbeats, for voting at home. And what y'all giving that on a scale from 1 to 5? For how well he exhibited personality and charisma.
Oh, on this album?
On this album?
That was a 5.
Yeah, it was a 5 on this album.
It was a 5.
He was the cool was at a different level on this album.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it might have been too cool, because this is the album that I think created his biggest detractors. Now people know who he is, and they associate him with this Cristal popping more than anyone else. I remember this is the beginning of my no longer Jay-Z fan era. I was like, he's just one of those. Dimension 2 is the believability or the suspension of disbelief. Like most Jay albums, it's not a concept album, and he doesn't assume any characters where you have to, believe that he's in some kind of role for most of the album. He's telling you, no, this is me. This is a Sean Carter album. It's the life and times of Edgar Carter, right? So then the question is, how believable is Jay on this album? How much does he make you believe what he's saying?
I mean, you want to take this? You want to start off?
I mean, seeing it in real time is different. But at the same time, it's not like he went about saying anything too outlandish or too braggadocious the way it didn't sound to me.
Again, a lot of his money till he's above the law.
Right. Like, I mean, like those type of lines, of course, they're a little hyperbolic or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But with respect to how they transition from getting money in the streets to, not too many people had imprint deals like the way they had Def Jam and the Chokehold back then. So, I mean, the way they was getting money hand over fist, basically transitioning from the street to the fame, just like he told Beans to do. It was like, it sounded believable. Songs like Money Cash Hoes, like that said, like that's what y'all had. Like songs like A Week Ago, I can see a friend folding, and you getting some time behind that or getting some type of heat on you behind that. Songs like, even songs like Money in the Thing, like you got him and JD tossing money around, and it sounds believable. I've been in the 40-40 on nights where it looks a little crazy. So I'm just saying a lot of what he put together, it's not even about it sounding believable. It just doesn't sound like it's too hyperbolic to not be believable. It sounds like casual talk, like this is just what I do on a day-to-day.
Okay.
Money in the Thing, I think, sums it up. Mm-hmm. The video summed it up. Like, if you weren't sure if he had it or not, and you watch that video, there's something that comes through the screen that seriously that makes you understand. Okay, this is a different level.
To your point about the Money Ain't a Thing video, I mean, it's real when you had Kenya Moore in the video. She's not a video girl. Right. At that point, she was like Miss something, right?
Miss USA.
One and only video I think she was in the 90s. Right. So, but yeah. For a long time, my favorite song on this album was Paper Chase. And then listening to it again in preparation for this episode, I'm like, oh, this whole song is about OT drug dealing. And so those are moments where you kind of, two things. If we're looking retrospectively, which is kind of cheating, this is still Jay-Z's era of proving. This is still, I'm going to wear a do-rag Jay-Z, right? So he still is competing with his contemporaries, so he's still rapping about drug stuff in present tense. It's not like, Jay-Z now where he's telling you how he used to get it. So he's still assuming that role of some songs. So there's a little bit of suspension of disbelief that you have to put in there to be like, okay, he's not really doing this right now. But I just realized how detailed. And there's even lines where I'm like, oh, some of this wouldn't fly now. Like that third verse, it almost sounds like he's about grooming young teenagers to be drug dealers. I'm like, but he did the bleak. He's like, you go there, flashing rings, you tell them things, you know how to get to these young teens. And I'm like, whoa. And then it also, there's certain lines throughout the album that lets you know that Jay-Z still wants to flex the toughness. Which is something you don't hear him do again later in his career until maybe like a song like Threats. But even Threats is like, don't mess with me and I'll do this. On these songs, he's trying to be the bully. Like he has lines where he's like, I buy my gun dirty with bodies on it already, or when it gets me and I'm trying to murder everything. I'm like, those moments are like hyperbolic toughness that you don't really hear from later Jay stuff. So that's the only portions of the album where I wonder if the believability gets tested for the listener.
I feel like he's always forgiven for the tough guy lines, the squeeze first, ask questions last. Where he just goes on these tirades. Yeah, where he goes on these tirades about what he'll do to people, and we're just like, Yeah. Okay. We know you stabbed Uns, supposedly.
Right.
I just think there's certain albums where he does it slicker than others. Like this one,
Absolutely.
he seemed like he still wanted to do the, like.
Yeah.
Right. He tried to distance himself as far from Volume 1 as he possibly
Volume 1 traumatized him, yo.
It did.
It really traumatized him.
Yeah, he hates it.
It traumatized all of them.
I'm telling you.
It traumatized all of them.
And it's not that bad of an album, but it's just
it's not that bad. It's just that the singles
Yeah.
and the position he was in, he listened to someone else. He didn't listen to himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was my first year interning there. So I was around when those songs were being created, when the beats were being sent, and hip hop was picking certain things, and it was like, I don't know what girls like. You really like that? Okay.
Yeah. You were
Jay was like, all right.
You were interning at Def Jam or Rock?
Rockefeller.
Okay. Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I hear Paper Chase, funny enough, it does sound like a song that Foxy was squeezed on last minute. Like he gave the first verse to her. Do y'all hear that? It sound like that could have just been any J verse.
Yeah. It was formula too. She had been on every album. So now it's like,
not only that, but she was hot at the time too.
That's their last Jay-Z album collaboration.
Yep.
So that makes sense. But I'm like, wait, Foxy on the OT song? But same thing with Too Short. I do feel like this was still very much in the vacuum of this East-West tension. This was the era of everybody grabbing the nearest rapper from out of a region. We talked about this on the Mace album review. How Diddy grabbed 8 Ball and MJG. Jay had Too Short on the last album, and sound like, okay, I need somebody. Let me get Too Short again, because again, Too Short's not the first person most people would think about for a song about snitching.
Well, a song about not snitching.
Yeah, about not snitching.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Like you get Too Short for a pimping song. So I'm like,
well, the world was so different. It's hard for us to even think about how everything was quantified back then. Spins were everything, right? So spins and pre-sales. So literally stores in Oakland, you can't ship thousands if they don't see the value. The name Too Short actually means a whole lot in a region. Like now,
instant credibility.
Stores are gonna take it. They're gonna take more copies. It spins on the radio, which means nothing now. So it's real. Like everything you're saying is right.
I just found out that was originally supposed to be Pimp C. Jay wanted Pimp C on that, but because the East-West tension was so high, Jay didn't feel comfortable going too far outside of New York, and Pimp wasn't trying to come to New York, so they were just like, and Pimp's personality. Pimp was like, well, F it then. I guess the song ain't gonna get made. Basically. So it's like, oh, my theory was right. Too Short was a last minute call.
Yep.
Because even the way he's saying the hook, I'm like, and this might be me being picky, but when I hear the cadence, I wonder if Jay originally said it in a way where it lines up with the "It Was All Good Just a Week Ago" more on, because it was like ding 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 down. It was all good. I wonder if he was like ding 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 ding, and it was all good just a week ago. You know what I'm saying, Sean? Following more, because it was a slower cadence. But that's something we wouldn't know. But what are y'all giving Jay for believability on this album on a scale from 1 to 5?
I'll give him a 4.
Okay.
Yeah, because money was a 5. Everything else, even down to him saying he was retiring. Like nobody believed that. Any first person violence or drug dealing, other than Pusha T, we gotta go.
Somehow he keeps coming up in our conversation.
All right, that takes us to Dimension 3.
Yeah.
Now we get into it, the delivery. All right, I always make this distinction. The reason that this dimension exists because delivery is different than flow, and it's different than the actual rapping. Delivery is the use of voice, timing, and all of that stuff. So Jay's voice has always been a distinct voice. He's learned to use it in different ways as his career has progressed, but this is still 90s Jay. This is still 90s Jay trying to get on the radio and trying to be TRLJ. So he's always a projection person, I think. From the first album, there was way more of a talk style because he was trying to be the slickest, the smoothest. And in my lifetime volumes, he started playing with projection. You're gonna hear him do things, can I hit it in the morning? You weren't getting too much of that on the first album.
I think he did he made it a concerted effort to find different flows and different pockets in the beats that he chose. Like choosing Jigga What, Jigga Who, was intentional just to try to, at the time, try to show off the fast flow. People were doing that at the time. So I think he was intentional about the pockets that he chose throughout the album. He used his voice in different manners, like it was a darker, a little more morose tone in A Week Ago, because it was like kind of sadness and I can't believe it went like this. But then you get to joints like, it's like that, and you can hear the pickup in his voice.
Yeah, you put it great. There's the idea of textures, right? And he plays with that. He goes for the deeper tone, like you said, more morose on Just a Week Ago and Hard Knock Life. He stays in that lower register on Hard Knock Life, but then he's not afraid to go up on songs like It's Like That, but everything's still in that blanket of cool. You're not gonna hear Jay doing the stuff that he does later, like you're not gonna hear him do, and I wish I never met her. He's not that playful yet.
No.
The most playful Jay is gonna get, he makes certain inflections when he wants to emphasize certain words. So on It's All Right, if he's gonna say you can kill if you want to kill, he's gonna put a hard K on that, right? You can kill if you want to kill. Or there's that line on A Week Ago, he's like, now you got to grow up and be like, this is my dad. Like that.
This is my dad.
Yeah, I love that line.
Yeah.
That's how Jay uses humor. He's not gonna go over the top like Slick Rick does, but he's gonna change his inflection so to him this is a line that I think of the line on Imaginary Player, right? Those ain't Rolex diamonds. You done it. He puts the laugh. He puts the laugh in the verse. A lot of rappers don't know how to do that, man. It's a skill you learn.
It's a skill. It's definitely
in the booth and on the stage. You can't learn that on the page. You learn how to do it once you're reciting it. So he's really good with those moments, and he's free. He's freer here than any other album, but not as free as he became after this album. So
I think he masks his aggression well on this album, because I think the songs where he has some real powerful things to say, when he talks about running to Big and telling we're still feeling the songs, running the podcast and where we went wrong, life is, when you're dealing in the physical form, is everything that's invisible gone. I need to know. You can hear the passion behind these questions, right? But he's kind of subduing it to the point where it doesn't come at you like he's really that. The normal rapper, like a DMX, would be like, run the podcast, that's what we were wrong, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like it would come out different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even when I talk about masking aggression, you talk about Ride or Die. He's like, check your own videos. You always be number two.
You always be number two.
He was mad at Mace.
Yes.
Like he was upset.
Yes.
But he toned it down to kind of not let Mace know, not let the world know. Like, yo, I'm coming at this dude, coming for his neck. Like, you know what I'm saying? You sounded real breezy when I'm on R&B records. Tried a million times, dog. You know what I'm saying? Ghostwriter.
Yeah.
For the right price, I can even make your shit tighter.
Y'all are on fire.
It was some emphasis in those words. He meant that.
It was emphasis.
Y'all are on fire in this dimension, because if I had to pick any two songs, because Money Cash Hoes, it's surface level, and he knows it's surface level.
That's flow.
Yeah. He keeps it that way. But A Week Ago, you hear the pain or the disgust. You really hear the disgust.
It's disgust.
And then on Ride or Die, for those that are in the know, who knows that this entire first verse is about Mace, you hear a different kind of disgust. Like you said, I'm pissed at you. You want to come to war with me?
I seen your team in a crisis before. You thought I forgot?
You thought I forgot?
Like, you thought I forgot?
Like, people change those inflections. Like,
Right.
bro.
Yeah.
It's like the same presentation he used on Friend to Foe and Friend to Foe 98, except for now this is directed at a real person.
At a real person.
Yeah. I should also bring up, this is probably the only dimension that makes sense to bring up. Contrast. When you have your features, the contrast of voices matter. So as much as I said what I said about Too Short maybe being shoehorned into that song, the contrast still helps. Hearing that voice over that kind of beat with the way that Jay's approaching it does make for a nice balance. Same thing that Brown said about Foxy on Paper Chase. Yeah, that probably was all 3 verses of Jay, and it would have been a cool Timbaland Jay song by itself, but having her on there, and the fact that she says Bonnie and Clyde in the beginning, even though Hov says nothing about Bonnie and Clyde, which is how I know she was probably shoehorned in there too, it adds a new element to it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. What's some other good Money Cash Hopes. That's the contrast of all contrasts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think people saw that coming. Like, I don't think people saw a J DMX collab coming with that type of energy, that type of, you know what I mean? Yeah, the energy in that song was crazy. So I don't think people foresaw that. Even though X was hot at the time, Jay was hot at the time, nobody saw that collaboration coming. So,
no matter how people felt about the actual guests who were on this, each and every person on this album was a great vocal contrast.
Yeah, it was a great addition.
Even Emil and Ja Rule, right? Emil would not be most people's first choice for a female rap presence, but her voice on that hook, on the verse right after Jay, right before Ja's gravelly voice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Emil's voice is still crazy to me, though. Her voice is still crazy, by the way.
It's weird. I think the greatest contrast might have been Reservoir Dogs.
This is true.
But for delivery, on a scale from 1 to 5, what y'all giving Jay?
That's a 5 for me.
Yeah, I'll give him a 5 for this one.
Okay. All right, we're getting into the nitty gritty now. Brown already touched on some of this. The flow. The flows used here. Were there enough flows? Were they good flows? Did they work?
I know Pop, you can't stand us because we cocked them hammers, run up the president, top the grandma.
Locked in Slammer?
Nope.
Where you popped up at?
Popped up in Atlanta.
Man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's listen.
Nah, he was levitating.
He went left on a lot of joints. Like,
he was levitating.
Yeah, he was levitating on this joint.
As simple as people consider Jay's flow, when we're analyzing this album, you realize there's a range. How many different flows he used? Something I slept on, Hard Knock Life itself. But that first verse where he intentionally pauses before lines, like
you know me well. Nightmares of a lonely cell. My only hell was when y'all niggas know me to fail. Fuck y'all.
There you go. That part where he starts going to first shot. So then he keeps that sequence going. Where he intentionally pause and then it's as slow as that flow was, it's intentionally slow to ride that bass line, right? And then hit where the drums land. And then he picks it up a little on the second verse. He does this thing on the second verse that I always thought stood out nicely, where he was like, "No, I'm gonna be on top whether I perform or not." Like, he makes sure he enunciates the syncopation in a way where, "No, I'm gonna be on top whether I perform or not." Over that, I thought that was a cool pickup. And anybody that's ever read Jay's book Decoded, he's really into the percussiveness of how you use your word and put them together. Because another rapper would have said that a whole different way, but I'm like, oh, that was intentional.
Right, absolutely.
The thing between my eyes, analyze life's ills, and I put it down type real. Like,
and y'all
that's a tough song to flow on. Period.
It is.
Super tough. Same thing with Can I get a what, right? Like, I slept on that song in the 90s because it sounded so commercial. So I slept on the actual.
It was commercial, but the verse.
was
that flow.
That flow was crazy. And he says it. He said, "I'm flowing futuristic," which Jay is good for taking somebody's song because he genuinely feels he can do it better. And most times he bets on himself and he wins, right? He took Feeling It from Camp Lo, but I don't want to hear Camp Lo over that beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was an unprecedented flow at its time. Now you look back and it sounds a little simple, but it's like, oh, but he's gliding on that beat.
But if you go back, like if we go back to trying to flow on a Annie sample, and to be able to be creative enough to be able to slide in, pause. I don't know how to sleep. I gotta eat. I stay on my toes. I got a lot of beef. So logically prey on my foes. Hustler's still inside of me. And as far as progress, you'll be hard pressed to find another rapper hot. But then they tell you, I gave you prophecy on my first joint.
Still rhyming.
Y'all all laid out. Yeah. Didn't really appreciate it until the second one came. And this is all on the Annie sample. So yeah, this is
he bodied that.
And then y'all talked about the flow on Money Cash Host. Another simplified flow, but the flow that beat needed. Because you don't want to dance all over it. Plus, this is Hov trying to sell records. This is Jigga trying to be TRA. I want you to hear every word I say. I want you to just feel this beat and sing along to it. I don't need to get intricate because I can do that on Reservoir Dogs when I go, shit, man, ain't sick change, still get brain in the 4.6 range. Right?
Yes, switch lanes every time I hit switch planes, bitch flip, big cane, flow with no cut. You taking in vain.
Taking the vein to the brain.
But how niggas is nodding and throwing up.
Going over that, man.
So I mean, you're getting flows. Even when I think about money ain't a thing, right? He does a different flow every verse.
Every song is a different
every song. Listen,
every song is a different flow.
So many different flows. This one's for this song. The next one I switch up. This one will give it up.
I feel like I know y'all answer already. What y'all giving the flows for?
Flows are 5.
Yeah.
5. There's a moment when we talk about his guests. I'll point this out, and I know y'all probably talked about this when you did the Reservoir Dogs episode, so we won't spend too much time. I feel like only half of the rappers on there rode that beat. It's not an easy beat to catch. Shout out to Eric Sermon and Rockwilder.
It's a weird beat.
A weird beat.
I don't know why they picked it. Maybe because it was just like empty.
Oh,
because of the sample, because it's Shaft sample. Just for the
impact. I get that, but like they didn't wrap nothing around it. It was just the sample.
Yeah, it's just the sample.
Yeah.
Like if I heard that and it's all of us in the studio, I'm like, that one? Only thing I can think of is that it's just room for words.
It's the bragging rights of saying I rapped over Shaft at that time. That's really what it is. It's like when
I guess
what's another sample that's similar? Like when Kanye did Through the Wire, or when Just Blaze split that Super Freak sample up, or it's just to be able to say that you
cut that up though. But yeah,
right? So it wasn't Jadakiss probably rode that beat the best, and that's probably as sleepy as Jada's flow is a lot of times.
I think Styles comes.
I was about to say I think Styles bodied it. Yeah, his I don't give a who you are. So who you are.
He's coming at Jay too.
I say y'all focus on what's being said. Hold on, wait.
No.
I'm talking about the pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I tied him up. Styles and Jada, because it's chic. You could tell he's just rapping his verse.
Yeah,
like, he's not even trying to rhyme. He might be saying dope stuff, but the words aren't landing in certain spaces. Same thing with Beans. Beans is like almost fighting against it a little bit, and then Jada comes. It starts gliding a little bit more when you get to Jada and everyone who follows. But yeah, okay. And then
who do you think won that joint? By the way,
hold on, we about to get to that. And
then
Bleak loses his flow on Coming of Age, the final verse, which is like, as I stand, more like my pants up there. that part. I know it was supposed to be. I'm getting more intricate, but it sounded like crammed words.
Fit my mind cancer, but at times the answers seem.
It was a lot of crammed words in that segment right there.
Yeah, he got real Talibis.
That was supposed to be the victory. They were comparing that to Victory, and that they were trying to capture that moment.
Yeah, I heard the intensity of the delivery. I heard the delivery change, because they're like, your clip is my clip is your clip. But that syllable sequence, he didn't deliver it right.
He butchered that a little bit. As I stand, one leg of my pants up in the stance, like,
I think that's the best he's gonna get, man.
But again, to throw Bleak a lifeline. The beat at that part, that's kind of when the drums are building up. So maybe he's trying to find a way in there somewhere.
Yep.
So I'll give him a little. I'll give him an E for effort, but it didn't land.
I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, I wasn't mad. I
know that's. Yeah.
You know what?
I mean, I know like Bleak ain't no real. He's not a real rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like.
There you go.
Bleak wasn't waking up thinking I gotta be the next best. And he'll tell you that. Like, I'm not trying to be the best rapper out. Yeah. Like, dude, I'm Jay-Z's hype man for life.
I don't have to do nothing.
this is why he wasn't on Reservoir Dogs.
Like, who would you be on Reservoir Dogs?
Bleak needed to be on one song per album, like he was.
Hey, he did his thing on It's All Right. He stood his, with them J lyrics. That worked. And then lastly, for somebody that used to rap super fast, I was, again, when I listen to Nigga What, Nigga Who, I still have to keep in mind, this is Jay trying to hit radio and TRL. Jay knew he could go even kill it with the flow, but he didn't. He wanted you to still be able to hear what he's saying. So he rapped on there the way most New York guys rap when they try to rap bouncy. It was just like Jaz-O comes in, and I think Jaz-O murders the flow.
But when Jay first started rhyming, he was rhyming fast like that.
I know, but he rhymed better. He had more control. He was more free.
It was a little.
Back in the days.
Yeah, I'm talking like.
Yeah, well, he got ridiculed for that, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm saying. This is dumbed down Jay. This is Jay saying, look, I see this trend picking up, these bouncy beats, twisters on a lot of tracks. People like this. Let me put one on my album, but let me still make it dumbed down. Because he knew he if he wanted to, he can zippity do that all over that shit. But he didn't. He could have rapped like Jaz-O is what I'm saying. Jaz-O comes in, Jaz-O got nothing to lose. So he can go, better know. Jay is like, got a condo with elevators in it.
I think Jay is more cognizant of, I don't want to say airplay, but I think he's more cognizant of what the listener is listening to. Like most listeners, when they hear something that's too fast, they tune out. Like if they hear something that's I think that might be a little bit of why people not from the Midwest or not from, not with divine ears, like they may tune out to like a Twister or a Bone Thugs, because like if you can't pick up what they're saying, you might tune out. So I think Jay intentionally kind of went with the fast pockets, but he slowed the flow down just so you can catch exactly what he's saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
So, you don't sound like you agree with us.
I agree. I feel like it's coming from, I think he still thought he was killing it. Like when he said I got condos in the same place where the rhymes are in it. So all I do is rap a set. See how it's falling on my last cassette.
It's the first verse really. The first verse is really, he's doing what Busta Rhymes does when he raps fast. Just a lot of nigga and motherfuckers to fill up the syllable. Motherfuckers wanna act loco.
I think you confusing killing it with adding more syllables. Like Twister, sometimes it's a lot of syllables. Sometimes, like on the Diddy joint, he can take away the syllables and still kill it with speed.
But there's a dumbing down for radio. I think not only.
I don't know if it's dumbing down. I think Jay was traumatized, man. They laughed at him. The first verse was light. I give you that. It was
light. That's what I mean.
It was light. It was light. But I also know that the man was clowned for they was calling him a fushnickin and all of this back in the 80s.
Did you care about that back then? Nobody was bringing that up.
That mattered.
Nobody was bringing that up in '98. People didn't even hear I can't get with that.
Bruh. He ain't care about the people. It's the circle. This is Dame Dash and all the people that matter to him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that fast rap, that jiggity Dosafet, yo, that's corny. Right? Gotcha. So he had to change it all up. So this was because people were rapping fast again. He was like, "Oh, we the originators. We did that,"
and that's why it's called the original.
Right.
He put new content to what him and Jazz were doing.
Yes.
Right. And just happened, that first verse just happened to be.
But to my point, you hear how many syllables and how fast Jazz is rapping. Because again, Jazz is like,
this is his one chance. This is
right.
He had to make it count.
This is it.
Jay-Z wants to be heard. And to this day, I think more people can quote Jay's verses and not Jazz. Because I just read what Jazz said. I'm like, Jazz lyrically killed it and sonically killed it. So it was interesting.
Nobody bigger than me and my nigga Jigga. Yeah, I get it. You know,
the PNN and all the acronyms.
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting into it. Dimension 5. This is the no bars off specialty. Wordplay and bar intent.
Come on, it's laden with bar. So I ask you this. I'll pose this question to you. If you can name a song on there that doesn't have heavy wordplay or like it's chock full of bars, I'll raise you 2.
I think his most pedestrian performance on it is going to be Money Cash Hoes. It's the most dumbed down, right?
Yeah.
So the most clever you get is the whole life flirt with death metaphor, little couplet there. Mm-hmm. He also does this thing that I thought was interesting because he rhymes. I know they're gonna criticize the hook on the song, but what you expect? I'm just a crook on the song. Then he says the thing with Brook Nam following that, and doesn't connect that until later, where he says, "I got a life you could write a book on," even though he interrupts the rhyme scheme in between there. So he does stuff like that. But that really is his most basic two verses on the album.
Yeah.
Everything after that is sonically and just from like even a lot of the verses on here even read well, even if you just look at them on paper. That little I'm a hop, skip, and a jump from gripping the pump, spitting a couple of curse words and hit like that whole little segment. What did he say? I love chicks that pump Sheba and read for paper. I hate the ones that blow up your beeper because I go any deeper. I only bone divas, impregnate the worker when I come through your speakers. Fuck hot, my records got the fever. Niggas kick dirt, I get the whole block sweeped up. I'm like, I creep up when the beef heats up. So you got creep up, beef up, heats up. But I caught you with your feet up, and then you transfer and go your feet up and shoes off, about to snooze off, hating, because you can't turn the booze off. Like when you get into that kind of stuff, you demeaning. You're like you talking down to somebody at this point. Like I can't even believe like I'm having this conversation with you.
And there's and I say this all the time when it comes to wordplay, stuff like that, where you're using multiple literary and rhetorical devices, then you're in your bag. It's not you're not just relying on similes, right? Every line is like. And it's not all metaphors and it's not all just imagery, because imagery is a lazy one. Everyone can do imagery, but that sequence you just mentioned right there, it's full of everything. It's I can picture, and we're using entendres, right? You kick up dust, your block getting swept up.
Street sweeper. Like it's so many layers in there, but you know, to the average listener, it just sounds like nice rhyming words.
And when the last thing makes sense for the other thing, right? He's talking about his selection of women. I only bone divas, and then to go right, but here's what I do: I'll impregnate the world musically.
Come through your speech,
right?
So he does a good job of layering, but he transitions well out of one meaning of a word and transitions to homophonically, you know, something that sounds the same but has a different meaning. He'll transition to that. Like we said, you only bone divas, but you impregnate the world when you come through your speakers. Like you talking women, but then you transition to music. Like he does a good job of transitioning from subject to subject, but using the wordplay in between them to connect the two. So like his wordplay has always been top tier.
And then again, using that humor, just doing things like, and me, I'm sewing alike, got dudes on the block like, don't me and Jigga be flowing alike? Nah, not in your life.
Not in your life.
Him doing that and that, again, this is my dad, those little things just drive whatever he's trying to do home. So there's, if nothing else, Jay always has intention behind
Absolutely.
You know, even the way he set up the Snoop came and crushed down the buildings line, like he was leading up to that, the way the couple lines before that.
Right.
I feel like, I thought in the beginning of the album, it kind of started off light. But then, you know, If I Should Die, which I talked about earlier, although it got deep, I appreciate the way he kind of was able to infuse some cleverness in there when he talks about is everything that's invisible gone, and says, I need to know, will I still feel pain or will it be ironic? Will I chill in the flame of all the ills of my brain? And this is, can I reveal the game to all the hustlers trapped in a race? And if so, can I leave this place? And, you know, puff cigars and drink Cristal. If this is heaven to me, is it considered heavenly? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are stuff that gets skipped over, like chill in the flames. Will it be ironic that I would chill
in the flames
of hell?
Yeah.
Crazy.
The ill's in my brain, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if these things that are around me that I do are heavenly, you know what I'm saying? If this is heaven to me, are they considered heavenly?
Heavenly?
He said this is second song, like he's he's going in, and you miss kind of the wordplay because you're just like thinking about, you know, the chorus or the thing he just mentioned, Big and Pac, and there's some depth in there. He has a flair for doing that I think people miss.
Absolutely. So it sounds like I already know the answer to this. What y'all giving this on a scale from 1 to 5 with the wordplay?
That's a 5, man.
5.
Look, I'll be nice. I'll give you a 4.5. Only.
I think it's a 4.5.
Yeah, I'll give you a 4.5.
Because this is not its final form. So okay.
Yeah, it's nice.
No, yeah.
All right. So this is similar to the last dimension, but it breaks it down more into quotability. And I usually split these between two elements that most rappers are either or. You got punchline or poetic wisdom. I think Jay is both. Poetic wisdom I always associate with your rappers like Pac, Scarface, Nipsey, who are not gonna do all these clever rapidy rap things, but they're gonna say things that you can put on a t-shirt. You can live by their words, right? And then you got your punchline rappers, your Fabs, your Lloyd Banks. Every word is like, oh, every line is like, oh. I think Jay, we kind of discussed it. He does a little bit of both on this album.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Then I want to clear the lane for the features. DMX, that's not his bag either. So he's on there mostly because of his voice and his presence. But if you look at his verse makes sense. He's doing this, I'm a dog, and he goes into this whole dog metaphor. Don't mess with a dude that's like messing with a mad dog who wants mad food. And once the word gets back on the streets, you find out it's a dog that likes raw meat and all of that. Twist says that verse was so popular that DMX never performed it. He just holds the mic out to the crowd and everyone recites that verse for him.
Well, that's because of the just cause I, you know, that part.
The whole verse. They said that everybody.
The whole it's a flowy song. Like it's easy. It's simple. So it's quotable.
So it's not quotable because of what's being said. It's quotable because
it's all flow.
Yeah.
He took that whole just cause I and turned it into a song. Like it was.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's flowy.
Oh my.
and Sha just broke down everything real masterfully on If I Should Die, but I'll take it up a notch and give props to the Rangers on there because Wise and Half.
Wise is full with it.
Yeah,
just how DMX, some of his more poetic stuff is overlooked. They went into poetic bag. They didn't try to. Especially Half.
Out Jay-Z.
Yeah. Half goes real poetic. He's like, you know, am I cursed on these cold streets? He's talking about abortion. He's talking about, you know, and then Wise is talking about the blood stains still on the sneaker from the cat. And, you know, I broke the code of Geneva.
Yeah. Sip Coronas with Latifah.
I know when I see the other cats on the other side I had beef with, man.
So props to Half and Wise, because I mean, this was unprecedented, Jay. This is back when Jay didn't collab with anyone that wasn't selling millions. So like you knew they were pushing them next up through that Carter Foundation, but you know, whatever happened. But they, like you said, this is track 3, but second song on the album. It's a great look, and they're equal billing with Jay until he comes back and does an extra verse like he loves to do.
Yeah.
But
you know, he does that. He heard the song, was like, "Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, hold on.
Wait a minute."
Everybody needed that last verse because the first verse was kind of surface compared to
was light.
I did songs with Mary J. Blige, you know, like okay. But those are the two most. You're gonna get the most profound food for thought moments on those songs. Besides that, punchlines, man. the classic lines, right? We talk about quotables. Says she like my
necklace.
My chain, my necklace started relaxing.
That's what I call it, chain reaction.
All right, then he has other memorable lines like got a condo with nothing but
condoms in it. The same place where the rhymes invented.
So all I do is
rap and sex. Imagine how I stroke. See how I was going, which turned into a hook. Fab took that.
Yeah, but
rap and sex.
There's plenty of moments like that. And
there's plenty of them.
We sit on my money till I'm above the law, man.
That sit on my money till I'm above the law. Amazing. And then everything you mentioned in the first verse of Ride or Die, he was so passionate about that disc, that the structure, that's like a 20-bar first verse because the other two verses are 12 bars. Like he was like, I need to get this out.
He was upset, bro. So, he was upset about that.
And then he mentions, it's like, it's so in the know. It's one of those esoteric things. Like you had to know, and I didn't know about this in New York at that time. I was a kid, right? So I didn't hear about it, but people in the industry knew about the secret disc tapes that Mason made and they were circulating throughout. So he says that. He's like, oh, niggas making sneaky little tapes, and it's always the weakest one out the crew.
Always.
I make more money off your album than you.
Off your album than you.
And this is the same approach that Jay took when he dissed the rest of Harlem World, when he dissed Mino on the Got My Mind Right remix, right? We like, you thought they were shooting your fat ass out of cannons before. Like,
I wonder what made him come at Mino, though. That was weird.
Yeah.
That was really weird.
Well, that's because Mino, that's another instance of Harlem cat making all these like Harlem mixtape songs that only Harlem dudes have heard going at Jay. And, you know.
Yeah. But Mace did go at him on the was it Brandy remix?
It was not. It was 112. It was
112.
Love Me 112.
Yeah, but I don't hear no platinum hit.
Well, who would know that? That's what I'm saying. That's some real insider. Like, as
you gotta know. You either know or you don't.
And I guess that's also why Jay says, I can't even walk through Harlem again on the right. But Bleak, I don't think Bleak has any punchlines. Ironically, even when Jay's writing, Jay doesn't really throw a couple punchlines.
I think Wise wrote most of that stuff. I will say, Hand It Down could have been iller. Like that was a delivery misstep, and maybe a placement of the punchlines. We went to Tom D's. It was Mad Veins out. Cop the Jordans 3 before they came out. Flashy, fly, lonely bitch from the third floor. Like, wow, bitch, please. Like, took a long pull. Twist the Tree took a long pull. Like, bitch, the breed. Like,
that's life's like cancer.
There's a way to nail that.
And I'm serious.
Yeah, the way to end that. Shout out to my cousin Jamel. My cousin Jamel had that album playing, bumping that first song, mostly because of the beat, which like a lot of cats would. And he could swear, I mean, he would have swore that was the illest ending line. I was like, that's my answer. Life's like cancer, and I'm serious. Like, that's how you ended it? No punchline, no
nothing.
Well, it was a nod to Rakim, Serious as Cancer.
Yeah,
you can tie a better bow.
Inside info, so you know that as the writer, but that's one of those.
You can tie a better bow on that.
Yeah,
listen, the whole if you have to say that's my answer, that's because we didn't get that the bitch please twist the tree took a long pull, like bitch to breathe, like we didn't get that was your answer.
That was your answer
to the question. So you had to ribbon it and say that's my answer. Life's like cancer, and I'm serious. But I feel like whoever wrote it, after hearing how he delivered it, they should have got together and like let's rearrange this so that you don't have to say that's my answer, or even stretch the Tom D's, maybe make that a 4-bar rhyme scheme so that you get to the Cop the Joe 3 weeks before they came out, after maybe 3 more bars of Veins Out, Lamed Out, something that, you know what I'm saying, leads up to it. I think all of that should have been 4-bar rhyme schemes. And it would have carried better.
I agree. You know? And then
he really butchered that. Nigga trying to kill me, dog. Who wouldn't? Screw Gooden. I'm like, what? Who wouldn't? Screw Gooden?
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? Screw Gooden. I pitch in the PJs. I'm like, Okay, you couldn't space that out somewhere, man.
Yeah,
That was delivery.
Yeah,
Yeah, he could have put a different inflection on Screw Gooden. Like
yeah.
I'm sure he's kicking himself as a 40-something-year-old right now.
On a primo beat too. So if I move to Foxy, again, Jay gives her a kind of easy verse. Every line ends on the B word, right?
Yeah,
but
anaphora, I think. Or
I will give some props to the different uses of the word B. Going to November, I made out this bitch.
Yeah, that was slick. Yeah, that was slick.
All right, so we get to Reservoir Dogs. Not gonna spend too much time on this because I know y'all did a whole episode on it.
No one saw it. It's all right.
For those of y'all who have not caught it, go catch that on No Bars Off.
Yes, No Bars Off show. Yes.
Who did y'all decide on the episode had the best?
Well, what we did, we broke this down. We didn't use your scale, but we did score in terms of lines and impact. So we didn't put any bias. We just went line by line.
Yep.
And we determined, was this line hard, and we awarded, I think, a point for a bar or something like that.
Oh,
a point for a catchy line, a point for rhyme scheme, a point like we gave points for a little bit of everything.
We kept it really simple, and I think we were unbiased. Like, we didn't try to force a line that wasn't there. I know I've seen people big up lines that we probably didn't think were as hard, like the Jada Kids Get Chubby moved to Miami.
Yeah,
like that was one of those that's kind of like, it's quotable, but it's not a dope line.
Right.
Beanie saying hit you up in your apartment vestibule. Keep from the Larkin, keep like it was
Larkin, platinum pressing.
They sparked like it was a flow thing. It was a mystique of him being the new guy from Philly. But a lot of the lines didn't land.
Did not.
Yeah, Styles. We even took into account Styles coming at Jay, which
that's funny to hear about Jay on his own record.
That's so minor, but I love how y'all just distinguish certain things, right? Because I was thinking it's the same way. Like, there's a difference between impact, because in 1998 there's certain people who were talked about, and listening back you realize maybe that wasn't so talk worthy. Like Jada was talked about just because Jada was the most talked about, and then I remember people bugging out over the Chic line. He's like, oh, he's rapping to the Biggie post until Biggie moves. That's because it was still a sore spot for Biggie's loss.
Right.
Right?
And we gave him a point for that.
Yeah, we gave him a point.
So I like that impact combo, but then we all just talked about flow, right? So we had determined that Styles and Jada probably wrote that difficult ass beat the best.
Yeah.
And if I'm thinking about punchlines, which is the dimension that we're in right now, it goes to Sauce. Every line. Y'all didn't come to that conclusion.
The problem with that was the borderlines.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
That whole so many niggas on my nuts thought I lost my
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with
What's
that?
wrong with
Besides it being pause worthy, if in the vein of pause.
I love the picture of me falling off. I'm camera shy.
That's crazy.
I love that. That was crazy.
That's crazy.
Hammers fly, might miss you, but your man will die.
Right?
That whole I fucked the win. Y'all niggas
coming to lose.
Look, he set that up even before that. He said, either way, I'm sunning y'all. Because I fucked to win.
I know that.
I got it.
Nobody was doing lines on that level back to back to back for their verse.
Sauce always was that. You know,
at the time, people thought Jada was that. Jada had hella basic borderlines. He had like 3 hot lines in it.
Yeah, but even that whole ain't nothing for me to bust a tray off, murdered a whole month of April just to take May off. I'm like,
what's wrong with that? You get laid off on your day off? I lay off on my day off.
So you're gonna kill people for the entire month.
The whole month of
just
April?
To take May off.
Come on, man.
Are we really killing this many people every day?
Y'all are talking the hyperbole of
no,
not even that. But like,
there's some hyperbole that's like ridiculous.
Like
It's
even
it's
that
a setup
of killing every day. But
It's a
when,
punchline.
you kill every. I'll murder the whole month of April. Okay, what are you taking May off from? Are you taking May off from murder? Are you taking May off from work? Like, what are you taking off from? This is what we're trying to figure out. Are you taking you murder a whole month of April just so you don't have to kill in May?
and then you follow that up with Roman more Germans than Adolf. What he said, we like crews.
We like
crews.
Now we concentrate on your camp
like Jews.
You get fried for that today.
Not only fried, it wasn't dope.
It wasn't even cool. I concentrate on your camp.
Concentrate on your camp.
Like
Jews? Let me concentrate on this camp. Like what? Like, what?
Y'all are digging. So
because those are reaches. Those are all reaches. Those are all papooses.
Wow.
Those are all papoosish reaches. You know it. Come on.
Wow. Nah. I thought that was wordplay, right? If you're saying
better than the shit they beat slaves with.
Whips and chains. This is before the whips and chains punchlines got played out.
Mm-hmm.
This is before they got played out.
I think we gave him that one at that point. We gave him whips and chains.
We did, because a lot of that shit I was like,
because that's him. That's him acknowledging that he probably just said. That's him acknowledging that he probably just said a really effed up line. It's gonna get him some flack. But he saw his money. He's not popular enough to get canceled. This might not make the white news media and raise the ire of the people who would be upset by these lines. But that's him acknowledging, oh, I said something effed up about one group. Let me bring the slaves into it too to equalize it, right?
I get that part. We got all of that. But whips fatter? I mean, just don't. It's just
fat.
Well, Whips fat in 98?
I don't think Whips was fat. Whips was fat in 88.
Fat in 98, bro.
I
don't think Whips was fat in
92.
So are y'all putting this same level of scrutiny to lines like Nostalgia, like I'm 10 steps ahead of you, I'm shooting back.
That line is crazy. That line is crazy.
Why is that line crazy?
Rap shit, I'm 10 steps ahead of niggas shooting backwards just for practice?
Wait. Why is that more crazy than the setup where he's doing a whole Holocaust metaphor, right? As effed up as it is, we know punchlines are effed up, right? Fab got in trouble for comparing Beyonce to Solange in the punchline.
It has nothing to do with Germany.
It has nothing to do with
I don't care.
So if he says Germans,
it was lazy, man. You know that was lazy, man.
It has nothing to do.
You like Cruz? You like Cruz. You are like Cruz. Whatever.
Yeah.
Come on, man. First of all, if you would have gave me 4 bars, I would have respected it. But you gave me 2.
You forced it all.
And you talking about concentrating on your camp.
What am I concentrating on?
What?
That's just another way of saying I hit these people up. Now I'm coming to it. I'm targeting y'all. It's just a clever wordplay way of saying
it's not clever.
Wow.
There's so many ways to say you could concentrate on somebody's camp. Then you turned it into a simile. Like you did all of that to have a simile. You could have just said, I don't know, man. It's
definitely an effed up punchline sequence. It's something that belongs to like a battle rap, right?
Right.
But there was thought behind it. There was thought in the step.
The idea of it was great. The execution was terrible.
Wow, y'all.
The execution was terrible.
I wasn't expecting that because I felt
the execution was terrible.
I felt like he put more effort in every line than anybody else on the song.
But I feel like he wanted every line to be so punchlining and meaningful that he overstepped, he overreached. Like he's a habitual line stepper, and like he stepped over the line a couple of times where it just didn't work.
Okay.
I think that what he did with the something proof spit it, we can have a spray off, lay off, and kill him on day off. Ain't nothing for me. But if you're gonna do that in that middle where it goes 4 bars, I think you have to keep that going because that helps you build up momentum. Yep. And if you just go 2 bars, it's a cop out to me. Like I don't know. It just seemed light, man. He said flow hot like a heat wave, bitch. Like, come on, man. You know that's corny.
Out of you give me 20 dope other punches, and then the one little between. Nah, I'm not too loud.
Flow hot like a heat wave.
Like you couldn't come up with anything else resembling heat.
So y'all are gonna give Styles P more credit for wasting 4 bars just to be like, I don't give a F who you are. So
No,
Like,
that was I'm not giving him more
We just
credit.
thought it was funny that he came at Jay on his own song. Like you're on the song with him and you're going at him
for that part. No,
because he doesn't get into his bag until like the last 4, right? Where he does the whole.
Jay watched everybody. Let's just be clear.
What did Jay say so phenomenal? Please tell me, what did Jay say so phenomenal?
First of all, he set it off with the flow.
Okay.
I don't think we gave him points for that.
Nah,
you said it with the big thing, big chains.
That's a flow.
Grade in the 4 dot. Yeah, that's a flow.
Okay, that's a flow.
But listen,
the lyrics.
How many bars did he stretch that flow out for? Like how many?
That was 4.
That was 4.
But then he kept going.
He kept going.
Lane, switch lanes. Every time I hit switch planes, bitch flip, big cane, flow with no cut. You take it in vain to the brain. Like he kept that for at least 8. But then kept, you know that. You don't want to owe that man. He'll hit you. Get the picture. Kodak man got
That's the first punchline.
I love that beginning.
Standards
because we cocked them in. I love the rhyme scheme. Running the crib, no prisoners, pop your grandma, locked in the slammer. Nope, popped up in Atlanta.
Pop your grandma is more of an effed up line than the Adolf.
It's 98. In 98, if you want to,
98.
You already one of them more Germans than Adolf. Listen,
right.
You already done crossed the line.
What is so hot about saying no prisoners, pop your grandma?
It's stylistically the way he's saying it. He put it together better than Sauce. He just put it together better.
Wow.
But then if you get to we can keep going. Like you said, you said that's his first metaphor. Yep. He'll hit you. Get the picture, Kodak man. But you keep going. Got a love for war. I don't floss no more. I don't floss no more. I just sit on my money till I'm above the law. How you gonna stop us with your measly asses? We don't stop at the tolls. We got easy passes.
Let's stop right there. Y'all know damn well. Y'all know damn well measly asses is one of those lazy setups. Me and my boy call that.
We'll give you that.
Me and my boy call that the Big L. He's got a line on his first album where he says, "I'm killing infants for 10 cents," and he's just saying that to keep the rhymes.
Yeah. Is it worse? Is it worse than Light Cruise?
Yeah, it's a lazy setup.
It's listen, but right before that, to say I don't floss no more, and you I don't have to floss no more. I just sit on my money.
So I'm a
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, and two lines back to back, 2 punch lines back to back.
And easy passes they were a big deal.
Easy passes were a big thing back then. Like
it's a big deal.
No, for real. Like
that
was a big flex back in 98. No, serious
classes.
Having an easy,
I be on
the elastic.
That was hard. He kept the round scheme going.
Couldn't do. For real, easy passes was a big deal back then.
Not like she said.
I'll take it. You can say whatever you want.
Easy passes was a big deal back then. Though, like
what's so hot about saying I got IB on the elastic if you already announced that you ran iceberg? That's not a. That's lazy to me.
That was the beat going off, something to say.
It's still better than Sauce. I'll tell you that.
I'm not giving Sauce any credit for that.
I love this, man. Yo.
No, I can do this all day.
Yo, y'all make sure y'all catch the Reservoir Dogs breakdown on No Bars Off. This is monumental, man.
I love it.
What y'all giving this for quotability on the poetic wisdom and punchlines? Or just overall quotability?
I'll go 4. I'll go 4.
3.8. Yeah.
I'll knock that to a 3.5. I only do 0.5.
3.8.
Okay. All right. That takes us into the Dimension 7, the concepts. Every classic album should have something conceptual on it where it challenges you to listen with more intent. They're doing something more creatively with the song structure, or something abstract, something that takes you a little bit out the box. It's not straightforward. I think the only track on here that does that is Coming of Age 2. That's a conceptual rap.
Yeah. It's the only true concept song.
Maybe If I Should Die. If I Should Die might be a loose concept. It's not quite 24 hours to live, but it is like I'm on my deathbed. I'm reflecting on all the milestones, right?
I think after Wise and Half went, and then Jay was like, "Oh, that's what we doing? All right, yeah. If I should die too, like,
right. So
here's what happened if I should die.
So if we talk about coming of age, too, Jay is going on record saying this is a mental exchange. He said, listen to the song. It's in a lot of notes. He's like, you may think the song takes a long time, but it's only a 30-second interaction, and this is what's going on between the two people. Do y'all think they did a good job of making that clear to the listener?
I think they did an amazing job. But the listener has to listen. The listener has to listen. Like, it's not right in your face that it's a conversation. But if you listen and you hear that, I decided to pay him a visit before he decided to get cute, like all of this is action, not interaction.
Yeah.
So that's what people are like. He's setting a scene, but there's only 2 words spoken in each verse. The first verse says, as he approached, I spoke, Jigga, what up? That's his verse. That's the only words actually spoken. Second verse, only word spoken was, what up, Bleak? And I paused. So like everything else was scene setting. It was what my thoughts are. Look at this nigga Jay Front and trying to take my shine. I didn't say this verbally, just had some shit on my mind. Puffing like an ounce more than I used to puff. They, you know what I mean? They got me thinking, shit, I'm the one that moves this stuff. While he riding around town in brand new coupes and stuff, like this is all ideas. None of this is verbal.
Yeah.
So you have to be listening to understand, like, all of the things that he's saying, these are really just setting a scene, setting that you understand, like, this is just a small interaction. I'm walking up to him. I'm, just trying to pay his ass a visit before he decided to get cute.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the chicks or how we dividing the loot. So I want to make sure, whether it be he heard that they got beef or he want to pull up on them and make sure everything good. There's only 2 words there. Like I said, there's only 2 words exchanged. This Jigga what up and what up, Bleak. That's it.
Yeah. And this is what Jay historically has not gotten enough credit for throughout his whole career. And it's also on him because he didn't want to emphasize this. Once he got into his TRL top 40, Billboard 100 bag, he's like, y'all catch up when y'all catch up. He's been doing this since the first album. The Evils was conceptual. Rap Game Crack Game was conceptual. This was here. He's always done it. There's been a murder. Every album he's going to give you one. Yeah. He just started caring more about it later in his career where he's like, I'm going to make more of these songs. Yeah. And so it's not always the most obvious, but I love how you just broke that down. I don't even have much more to say to it than that. Sha, what you got?
I mean, the only Achilles heel to the song was, I think we all thought that this was the ascension of Bleak as an artist. And that's what gave the song more texture. Like, oh my God, he's coming of age. We remembered the first one, and now this is the growth. And you could hear him saying, "Cocaine whiter now." You know what I'm saying? And I remember just thinking, man, imagine this being somebody that, not necessarily not Bleak, but just someone that wants to rap. You know what I mean? Like in this position, because it was a great spot to be in, man. Like. Yeah. It was really, really a great spot, and I just think they put him in a weird position because I think his delivery was the difference between what could have been, career wise. But the song was great. Yeah,
I feel like Beans came in the album too late. That would have been Beans'. He would have got all those slots, right?
It's possible.
And the placement is amazing. You get the first song, you get the song in the middle of the album, and you get
the song at the end.
The song at the end, right? So for this conceptual entry, right, when we're thinking of the vein of concept songs, just to give y'all some metric, not to score it too high, right? In a world of One Loves, I Got a Story to Tell, I Gave You Power, Davy Crockett, conceptually, for a concept on an album, what are y'all giving this on a scale from 1 to 5? And you can squeeze in some of the If I Should Die.
Conceptual overall, I'll give it about 2. Because it's not a conceptual album. It's more so, the Annie sample was a concept in that, it used the sample to kind of tell a story. Yeah. Coming of Age is conceptual in that, again, it's a conversation of thoughts. Mm-hmm. If I Should Die is kind of more introspective, I would say, than conceptual. More so like how I want things to be, what I think things should look like if I should die.
Right.
So
if I Should Die floats right between two songs that come to mind. Like I said, 24 Hours to Live.
24 Hours to Live, yeah.
Way more conceptual. And then Nas has a song called Live Now, where he's actually playing a role as someone who's dying and reflecting on it, right? So Jay doesn't go either direction as hard.
Right.
Like you said, it's more introspective.
It's kind of more introspective, like
reflective, but it's loosely packaged in this. That's what it's a loose concept. It's like we're not committed to this too much, but it's there, right? So it tips the scale slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
but I do, 2.5. I do think the way they fleshed out the coming of age 2 concept was brilliant.
Yeah.
I think to go all the way back to coming of age 1 and to to wrap that back up full circle. And could he see I had plans on being the man ever since we full spoke, and he put that G in my hand and I gave it back to show him I was down for the cause as he approached. What up, Lee? And I applaud. You know what I mean? So to bring that back full circle, but also keep it in the context of this is still not even a conversation. This is still us walking towards each other, basically.
Yeah.
So,
and to do it one album removed,
that was dope.
I think that was dope too, because you think about Friend or Foe was on the first album, and then he revisited on the second album. Coming of Age was on the first album, and now this is his third album. So nothing on the second, no Bleak, and to come back and reference that. So for a new fan, you probably wouldn't even understand what's going on for the most part. But I'm somewhere in the 2.5, because we talked about the album. The album's intention was not to give you and again, what you mentioned as far as him being cool, like you don't want to go too hard with concept songs and be in that raucous records category of trying to make deep music. At this point, it was, look, we gotta do what
formula.
What everybody's doing on these charts. Mason's talking shit. We gotta get on these charts.
Yeah,
like we not bullshitting. Like we not giving you I gave you power. We ain't going deep.
None of that. We ain't giving you Lucky Me this time around. We ain't giving
you
You Must Love Me this time around. Nah.
So then we go to the actual content. Y'all been talking about this the whole time, so this is gonna go by quick. I put these two together, Dimensions 8 and Dimensions 9. So Dimension 8 is the external content. How much is Jay talking about outside things that are environmental, society, government, politics, the hood, relationships? And then internal is how much is he doing that introspective or autobiographical exposition.
This is some deep analysis, brother.
Yeah. But this is what most classic albums have. You leave feeling like you learned a little bit about the artist. So yeah. How many songs? I don't think Jay's talking about anything outside of his world. It's all internal. It's all introspection.
For this album,
Hard Knock Life, maybe.
It's a little bit of an outside look, kind of like from where it came from standing on the corners bopping to, you know what I mean,
to the women who didn't have to strip to pay tuition. I do
right. So it's a little bit of an environmental look. Yeah, of course, If I Should Die is again introspecting, not really outside. I think a lot of this album, I mean, Money Cash Holes are making money. A week ago, somebody snitched. So a lot of this is kind of more personal, more stuff that he's dealt with,
And this is his shallow era. I truly don't think in the pantheon of Jay albums, you probably get the least of both of these on these in my lifetime. Because just like the album y'all mentioned before, you got more of it on that album. On Volume 1, you got more introspection and content. And he doesn't get back to that until Dynasty. We start talking about this can't be life, you understand, and Daddy. That's when he got me back. That's when I became a Jay fan again. I'm like, oh, he can do this. Yeah, so you don't get that. Does that hurt the album?
I don't think it hurts the album because we all knew the intention. I think there's an underlying theme that you kind of know where he's going, right? You know that he's being judged by the numbers and to be placed in that pantheon. Like it was something that was eating at him. You know, it was like Kevin Durant trying to get that first ring. Like it was like, yo, you gotta conform a little bit. You gotta do something a little different. You know you're good at rap. You know what I'm saying? And this was his attempt. So I don't think we expected a lot of introspective talk. I think from the singles leaking and the songs that we were hearing. And you got to understand, we have a different perspective because we were on a college campus, right? So when you're on a college campus, there's a buzz that surrounds it, especially around 98. People open their dorm rooms and playing songs. People are talking about going to the mall or the record store to what they're going to get. They're going to get Outkast, they're going to get Jay. I remember 97, Rakim came out the same day as Volume 1. And you had a lot of dudes that was on that, yo, I'm going to get the God. Like, it was, yo, I ain't messing with Jay. Like, they was off Jay, like you was off Jay. Like, they was like, nah, they're not off Jay. And this is different regions. You know, we had Delaware, we had Maryland, we had Jersey, we had DC. You know, not too far in different directions, but it was mostly that Northeast. And you kind of hear what other people are thinking. So it's not just our New York minds. And we're hearing, you know, what the talk is. And when that Hard Knock Life came out, it was a unanimous, yo, he did it. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't a lot of expectations for something as deep as what Nas does. It was like, yo, he got there. He made it. Like, he did the crossover without conforming. And that was that.
Fair enough. What y'all giving this for the external content on a scale from 1 to 5?
External, 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, it's a 2.
And then for the internal?
Internal,
bread and butter.
That's what he went to this album.
Yeah,
so
that's his bread and butter.
Yeah, that's what he went to this album. This album was him. It was.
Y'all giving it a full 5?
I said 4.5.
4.5.
I say a 4. I think that's been his track record from the beginning. You know, Reasonable Doubt was all his lens. You know? Yeah,
but I think there's albums where he does it better. Reasonable Doubt, you definitely get more of him.
Absolutely.
His feelings and his story. And then later albums, of course, you get it even more. Last but not least, y'all, Dimension 10, storytelling. I've been told by OG that it's not a classic album unless it has one good story on it. Y'all believe that? And if so, what is the story on here?
The story?
I mean, Coming of Age, Week Ago, Paper Chase is even a loose story.
So he has some story-like joints on here.
How strong are they? Like we comparing this to the pantheon of classic hip-hop storytelling. I don't know if you want to give it Slick Rick numbers, but they exist.
Oh yeah, he does have like a Meet the Parents or something like that. That kind of goes a little better.
Yeah.
As far as the stories here, they were more. I mean, the only ones that are actual stories is Coming of Age, and what makes the story so great again is the fact that it's not. I think conceptually, even though it's a story, it's a conceptual story. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like it's a story, but it's based on
interaction,
interaction of thoughts. So I think as like the premise of it as being a story, like the story is being told, like he's laying it out in terms of the way what's going on. He jumped out the car, Bleak is on the corner, he walking up to him, like he laid the story out very well. But in the pantheon of stories of like I said, the art of storytelling or something like that, I don't think it's in that realm.
Yeah.
But for the purpose that it was trying to serve, I think they did a great job of that. So
yeah, I agree.
That.
And Jay is great at giving you in his career, he's giving you stories from all the vantage points. He's giving you first person stories, he's giving you those conversational stories. Like a week ago is second person. He's talking to you, the snitch. The whole time he's like, this is my disappointment in you for what you did this week, this is what you did this week. Yeah, and then he'll give you a third person speech, like Meet the Parents. That's him being the narrator. He's out of the story, so he's able to do it all. On this album, you get two different feels of it. Like you said, you get the mental conversation between him and Bleak, and then you get him talking to this person he's no longer cool with. So there's two stories, but maybe not as appreciated in his career. And maybe that's just the Jay-Z thing, because like I said, throughout his career, no one really picks up or mentions how conceptual he's been, how many stories he's told. It's always about what'd he say? Just the things that I do to keep the registers ringing.
Yeah. But I'm going to dare to say that I don't believe he's a compelling storyteller.
Wow.
I don't think that he is. I think his first person narratives are great at painting pictures. You can see imaginary player. You can see friend or foe. I think he can put himself in a story, in a narrative situation, and you can get it. You can see it. Whatever the drug dealer interaction is, whatever the words are. It's like a 2.5.
Yeah, I'll go 3.5. I'm giving the extra point for the concept of coming of age too.
Gotcha.
I like the way they fleshed it out, Paul.
That's how we come to a close for this category 2 dissection, expert analysis, and review of the classic album, which some people don't consider a classic, but I'll let y'all debate that in the comments.
They can debate all they want. I'm out of this. I know I got haters now. So
also, if y'all can come up with 3 Jay-Z songs that are immaculate storytelling in a narrative, please leave it in the comments.
Yeah, leave it in the comments.
No bars off. Hit up Shot Stimuli, and y'all know what it is, man. Can y'all let the people know what y'all got cooking up next and where they can find you?
Man.
You got everything.
NoBarsOffShow.com. No Bars Off Show on Instagram, No Bars Off Show, Twitter, Facebook, No Bars Off Show, YouTube. No Bars Off is on all your streaming platforms for podcasts, audio. Please check us out.
Oh yeah, definitely on Spotify, Google Podcasts,
Apple,
whatever the Apple thing is. I don't know what the Apple
set, new shirts. New vibe,
new shirts,
new set, new shirts. That's what's up.
Yeah, we gotta elevate, man.
By the time y'all see this episode, they'll be well into season 2 of No Bars Off. And yeah, man, this has been an experience. I love the debates. I love the points. Y'all gave me a lot to think about. Y'all taught me some stuff. Y'all lived it. Y'all from Brooklyn. Y'all was in the Rockefeller building.
We gotta have you on our show now.
Yeah, we gotta have you on our show.
Yeah. We gotta have you on No Bars. Yes.
But I love it. Like I said, all 3 of us have been rappers. We understand this on an intricate level, and I hope we've made it. I hope we gave some food for thought for the casual listeners who never considered any of these talking points. Shout out to Sauce Money. Shout out to Memphis City. Shout out to the Rangers. Shout out to the Mill.
Right, exactly.
Bleak is the homie too, man. Love that dude.
On that, and me and Shot go way back. I didn't even point that out, man. We if y'all somewhere floating on the internet on A Pink's mixtape. Shout out to Pink's, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Pink's, man.
I think he's back to Pink's. He done had like 40 different names, right? Nemo. But
he's rapping again.
Yeah, I think he's in his midlife. We all go through that. I probably got an album on the way.
We all do.
Right, we all got
it on the internet. There's a song called Colors featuring Malik 16, Shot Stimuli, Apex. Shot, you got a book as well, right?
Yes. Strong Words for the Week is the book that somebody just hit me about it today. Just reminded me, man. It was a book of just verses that I compiled, for like half of your year. So I got 26 verses where I kind of broke down, rhymes and pieces of my life that kind of telling my story autobiographically through verses. And a lot of it is a little bit of self-help, some action items at the end of each chapter. Really good stuff, man. Yeah, it's Amazon.
Okay, there you go. Y'all can cop that. I appreciate y'all to no end, man. Thank you for the wisdom.
Yes. This was a blessing.
This was dope. We appreciate you for having us, man.
Y'all know what it is. Until next time, F a rap critic. They talk about it while I live it. Word to meth.
Hey.